18-year-old Kevin Rojas is charged with shooting and critically wounding a Jacksonville police detective this morning on the Westside. His mother spoke to News 4 Jackson, said this is not the son she raised.
I don't know what happened. I know he did it, but this is not him. This is not him.
That woman also told News 4 Jack she is sorry that the detective was shot. Medics rushed the detective to UF Health for surgery. He is expected to survive.
Because he's an undercover officer, his name has not been released. Now, within the past 20 minutes, we received a new photo of the detective's vehicle. You can see bullet holes right there in the windshield. And remember, the detective's teenage son was in the passenger seat, but was not injured. And here's a photo of the gun the shooter used. The detective was shot during a traffic stop this morning shortly after 7 beside the railroad tracks on Collins Road, just off Roosevelt Boulevard. Police say the detective observed Rojas driving erratically and pulled Rojas over. Now, we have since been told that Rojas had just been in an altercation with his girlfriend. Many of our reporters have been following this major breaking story throughout the day today. We begin with Channel 4's Jim Piggott, who spoke exclusively with Rojas's mother. Jim.
And went down to a house down here, and it's out here where he basically here, and what had happened down there is where he was shot by police. Now, one thing that you got to know too, that they are still down there actively investigating this, going over this crime scene, looking at it, making sure everything was right. Even though we just heard from Chief Hackney about everything that happened on here and with this gun, we talked to Kevin Rojas's mother as she was trying to get down here, very upset, trying to get to this house to learn what had happened. Here's what she told me.
Please don't make him allowed to be this person. He's not.
Well, what do you think happened?
This person.
And what do you think he had some medication?
I think that he just that he was on this medication and he was not aware of what was going on, and he just, I don't know. His mental status, I don't know what was going on.
Look.
Please.
Mom, chill. Kevin is a nice person. You know, he's very generous. And this is not his character.
And that's what we're trying.
This
everybody's seeing this, and that an officer was shot. The officer's going to be okay.
I'm sorry that the officer was shot. He would never do that. I don't know what happened. I know he did it, but this is not him. This is not him. I'm sorry that the officer was shot. From the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. Yeah. But my baby was shot twice.
And he's
he a punctured lung, and he buzzed, and they shot him in the leg, and he's got blood all over him.
But what we've heard from police, they say that that suspect in this case, that he would be released from the hospital. I know a mother seeing her son like that, obviously very disturbed, very upset by what she saw. But police were telling us that they believe that he may be released from the hospital soon. She was obviously very upset and did eventually get down to the house, and then she had left the scene, didn't want to say anything more after that. Now, right now, we just heard from police some more details of what happened down here. My colleague Scott Johnson is downtown with the latest. Scott?
Something else to mention is that the suspect got out of the car and immediately started shooting the officers, trying to put on his vest, and as soon as he walked out of that car, the suspect started shooting.
Okay, we are here at police headquarters. They just wrapped up a news conference that we are still trying to get details on all the things that will go into the charges against Kevin Ryan Rojas, the man who's in the hospital right now, along with that officer, the veteran officer who they're not releasing his name at this point because they do not want to affect his ability to be an undercover officer. It'll take a couple weeks before they can release the identity of that officer, but the sheriff just letting us know that he's received calls from the governor, other law enforcement officials around the state offering their condolences. I'm told the officer is critical but stable, was in as good of mental spirits as you can expect, was conscious when he talked to Chief Tom Hackney here at the where he talked to him at the hospital. That's what we just heard here. They are continuing to look once again into those charges. Attempted murder at a minimum. Guys, do we have something to hear from the sheriff now? Let's go to it.
In this job, again, we all sign up for it with a certain understanding of what you may encounter, and when it occurs and when you encounter it, you deploy the skills and the training. I feel like the training that we receive is some of the best in the country, and the fact that he is currently alive, was able to defend himself, turned out defending his son, and return fire to someone who set out to do him harm, set out to do other officers harm as well, is a credit to our training, but also a stark reality of just how dangerous the job that the thousands of men and women in this country and thousands in this city do every day to protect the taxpayers and the good people of Jacksonville.
And the sheriff also says keep the officer's young son in your prayers. He had to see his father get shot. But once again, the father is surviving. That officer at UF Health right now, where Vic Michelucci is live. Vic, let's go over to you.
Well, Scott, some very tense moments turned into hours this morning and afternoon as dozens of Jacksonville sheriff's officers came by UF Health Hospital here to check on their colleague to make sure that he is okay. We also know that the suspect, 19-year-old Kevin Rojas, also being treated here at the same hospital, obviously under heavy police guard. This afternoon, we learned that that detective, a veteran with JSO, is going to be okay. He's in critical but stable condition. Officers telling us he is awake, alert, and talking. A Trauma 1 helicopter picked the detective up from the Westside and took him here to UF Health Hospital within minutes. Rescuers rushed him into surgery where a team of doctors and nurses worked on him. He was in critical condition, shot in the head, upper body, and hand. The officer's car seen here on a tow truck riddled with bullets. His teenage son inside the vehicle, but amazingly unharmed.
The shots actually made it into the interior of the car, so it's by God's grace that he's not hit as well.
At noon, we got good news. Police said the undercover narcotics officer was out of surgery and is now expected to survive. There was a steady stream of police outside the emergency room, coming to check on their brother in arms and wait for word on his condition.
We know the risk as a law enforcement officer the day we sign up.
Sheriff Mike Williams came by, and so did State Attorney Angela Corey. We're told officers met with the detective's family, including his teenage son. The suspect was also taken to the same hospital. His family identifies him as 19-year-old Kevin Rojas, seen here on Facebook. Here's his Cadillac the car officers say was involved in the first traffic stop. Rojas's mom and brothers stood outside the hospital as well, upset about what happened, shaking their heads about why. Meanwhile, this community has come together in support of that injured officer as police ask for your prayers.
If you're one who prays, do so for him. I know I have been this morning.
So again, that officer still here being treated at UF Health Hospital. We have not heard when he will be released, possibly to a rehabilitation center. As far as the suspect, also here, police officers telling us his injuries are less severe. He should be released fairly soon and then transported possibly by a Jacksonville Sheriff's Office van like that to police headquarters downtown, where detectives will interview him, try to find out more details about what happened and possibly what his motives were. And then they will transport him to the Duval County Jail, where he faces a slew of charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder on a law enforcement officer and 2 counts of aggravated assault, also on a law enforcement officer. Of course, I'll keep you posted, but for now, I'm live outside UF Health Hospital in Springfield. Vic Michelucci, Channel 4, the local station.
The detective's car is now considered evidence, and when you look at it, it is nothing short of a miracle the detective's son was not hit by gunfire.
And take a look at this video. You can see a wrecker towing away the car. There are stickers on it showing where the bullets hit, and we counted 7 stickers on just one side. Channel 4's Chris Barrento spoke to a nearby business owner who rushed over to help the officer and his teenage son just moments after the shooting. Chris.
A lot of those workers say that it was a very surreal, very chaotic experience. Their building not far from where this shooting took place. They rushed to where these pallets are located on the side of Collins Road. They say that's where the 2 cars were when they heard the gunshots. Some of the workers were outside the building, others inside. They say they came running without thinking. When they got here, they said the officer was down on the ground asking for help. Merritt Partridge is the vice president of Partridge Well Drilling, and he says that he and other workers got here and tried to help in any way that they could, talking to the officer and trying to help with his injuries until rescuers got here. Partridge says that he and others never thought that a shooter could still have been in the area, but he says he doesn't think that he or any of the others would have reacted differently if they thought that shooter might still have been here. Partridge also said that he was at the officer's car where his son was still inside while others helped that officer. You said you didn't speak directly with him when you guys were there. You had others that were helping him, but you were near the car where his son was. What was his son's demeanor and reaction as all this was happening?
He was clearly shooken up, and he was very quiet, but I thought he handled the situation as well as he could.
Was he able to give you guys any information to pass along to police when they got there?
Not to my knowledge, no.
You guys got there, no train was coming, but you eventually began to hear one and knew you guys had to jump into action even quicker.
Right. Yeah, we heard the train coming, and the scene was very close to the tracks, and we did what we could to move everybody and the vehicles away from the tracks to avoid the train.
Partridge says that he and many others were very closely monitoring that detective's condition throughout the day. They were thrilled when they heard around noon that the officer's condition was critical but stable and that he was expected to be okay. I'll have much more from Merritt Partridge coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. Live on the West.
Thank you, Chris. That's Chris Barrento reporting live. Now, to recap this breaking news that we've been following since early this morning, police say 19-year-old Kevin Rojas shot an undercover detective 3 times off Collins Road. Rojas was shot 4 times by officers and taken into custody a short time later. This afternoon, he was booked on 2 counts of attempted murder. That detective is in the hospital in critical but stable condition. Ahead at 5:30, we'll talk to our crime and safety analyst, Gil Smith, about the dangers officers face daily in the line of duty.